Jerry Jones did not talk after Sunday's loss to the Panthers. It is news because it's out of the ordinary for the Cowboys owner. Trust me, he's now spoken, and you can't wait to hear what he had to say. But in the meantime, let's take a look at the fact that he didn't talk. Caroline Fenton, Jason Fitz, Yahoo Sports Daily, because that loss got to the Cowboys' typically chatty owner. We all know that he was kind of quiet after that. So the question is, now, with that loss, where the Cowboys are, knowing their defense is broken, knowing how bad it is, no team has ever in NFL history had the number 1 offense and the number 32 defense in the same year. Cowboys might be trying to go for history. So with that in mind, should they, in your mind, be buyers or sellers at the trade deadline, Caroline?
Buy. You just say adopt an in-sync buy. That should be exactly what the Cowboys mindset is. Go all in, push every single chip that you have into the middle and buy and do whatever you can to make this defense just 10% better. Because it is not every single year that you get MVP caliber performances from your quarterback. And that is exactly what the Cowboys are getting from Dak this season. We cannot take that for granted. We are seeing way too much bad quarterback play in the NFL to just assume that you're going to get that from Dak next season or at another point in his career, especially at the stage in his career that he is at right now. So you are getting championship level offense, elite offense, top offense in the NFL kind of production for your quarterback. And that is even without some of his top targets completely healthy. So if you get CeeDee Lamb back in 100% and Dak continues to play at the level that they're at, but they're giving up 40 points a game, what's the point? What's the point of having a quarterback playing at that level, putting up 38 to 40 points a game, if you're just going to give up 38 to 40 points a game? Put all of your chips into the middle. What's the point of saving draft picks or any kind of equity that you have in your back pocket? What's the point of saving that for another day when you can actually capitalize on that right now? Because if you put all of your chips into the middle and you fall short, then you can say, well, we tried. We saw what we had. We saw the performances that our quarterback was putting up, and we did everything that we could to capitalize on that performance. What good are draft picks if you just save them for a rainy day? They're not going to help you now. If you just have draft picks in the 2026 and 27 drafts, which is what the Cowboys have from the Micah Parsons trade, how does that help you now when you now are in a window offensively?
No, see, I totally disagree because this thing's over. At some point, if your answer is fix the defense, I think the Cowboys are going to the playoffs. But if your answer is fix the defense, it's not going to happen. Yeah, let me. All right, before Amazon was a thing for the world, hear me out. Before Amazon was a thing, you really had to go Christmas shopping, right, Caroline? And the number of years in my life that I was out on the road and I was working and I would get home on like December 23rd. And so all of a sudden you realize I have less than 24 hours and I have to do something right now. Inevitably, what you do when you go Christmas shopping at the last second, you go to the mall, is you pay double the value for a bunch of junk. And then they wrap it for you because you're not going to have time for it. And then so like everything's wrapped and you're like, fine, I got Christmas figured out. And then you're sitting there on Christmas morning as these presents are being opened and you realize, man, I paid a lot for a bunch of stuff that sucks and nobody likes. That's what you do when you pay at the trade deadline. I don't think there's a single player that would logically and realistically be available to the Cowboys that they could bring in that would fix their defense. I think they have so many holes on the defensive side of the ball that whatever they're doing right now would be the equivalent of Christmas Eve, 6 p.m. I'll pay whatever it takes. Just give me something. And then the next day she opens it and it's like, I thought you were going to get me a diamond ring. Sorry, honey. All they had available was a chia pet. I don't think that the Cowboys should pay first-round draft picks for chia pets. It's not going to fix anything. Whatever hole they're in today is the hole that Jerry put them in. It's a hole that they're going to be in, and it's a hole that simply won't get fixed until the offseason. Whether the Cowboys like it or not, they're screwed. I say this because I still think that the Cowboys are about to be unstoppable offensively. I think the Cowboys are still going to the playoffs. But if your answer is, how do we fix the Cowboys at the trade deadline? The answer to that is, you don't.
I love a chia pet, first and foremost. Okay. It's not quite a diamond ring. Chia pet. Okay. But it is very fun. Chia. To use that analogy, What if you didn't unbox anything on Christmas? You say, sorry, I was busy. I didn't get a chance to. Nothing good was available. My response would be, I'd take a chia pet. Like, I would take a note written in crayon on a post-it note because that's better than nothing. And that's kind of how I feel about the Dallas Cowboys. If you don't do anything, you are sending a message to your fan base that, well, we don't really care about what Dak is doing. We don't really care that much about winning because there's nothing good enough out there. Like, I don't think the Cowboys have to sell the farm for a bunch of crap. If it's not available, it's not available. If you don't feel like, what the asking price is adequate, then you're not going to pay a price that you don't want to pay. But there are a lot of bad teams out there. There are a lot of teams out there whose seasons are very much so done. So why not pick up the phone and call some of those teams? Cough, cough, the New York Jets. Cough, cough, the Cincinnati Bengals. Cough, cough, the Tennessee Titans. Those are bad teams with good players. Sure, maybe you have to pay more at the trade deadline than you would have had to in February or March or April. But isn't that the price that you have to pay to be a legitimate contender? Let's just say in a world, I didn't do it as good as you do, but I'm trying.
It was a good try.
Thank you. The Cowboys have, I don't know, Quinnen Williams. I don't know, Jeffrey Simmons. I don't know, actual legitimate good starting defensive players in the National Football League. I don't know, Micah Parsons, but who would trade Micah Parsons? I digress. But if the Cowboys have one run stopper, if the Cowboys have somebody to get after the quarterback, if the Cowboys have a couple more pieces in their secondary that can win some one-on-one battles with average receivers in the National Football League, that can make their defense 10 to 15% better. If their defense is 10 to 15% better, they don't tie with the Packers. They beat the Packers. If the Cowboys defense is 10 to 15% better, maybe they hold teams to, 32 points instead of 40. Dak can put up 40 points on any given night. Dak can put up 35 points on any given night. And a game of inches, don't you think being inches better makes a difference?
All right, so now they trade first-round equity to get however they do it. Now I want to live in this world, where they get Trey Hendrickson, Jeffrey Simmons, and Quinnen Williams. They just give up first-round picks for the next 5 years. They trade CeeDee and some other considerations over to the Browns, and they get Miles for it, and they completely rework their defensive line all at the trade deadline. You talked me into it. You're right, because getting a Chia Pet's better than not getting anything at all.
It's fun to unbox things.
Yeah, but nobody's really happy about a Chia Pet. I don't care what anybody says, unless Chia Pet becomes a sponsor on the show, in which case we are very happy about Chia Pet.
Chia Pets. Yes.
Will the Cowboys be offensively? Will they become unstoppable, though? But CeeDee's about to come back. That means CeeDee is suddenly combined. We've got all these elements together. Do you believe that will be the chef's kiss that at least gets the Cowboys back to a spot where their offense is so unstoppable that they're just going to be able to rail off some wins, even if their defense is hot garbage?
Aren't they already there?
That's fair.
Aren't we already in the Cowboys offense is unstoppable kind of world? Because the Cowboys right now put up more yards per game than any other team in the NFL. They're number 2 in passing. Now, their rushing attack doesn't really match their passing attack, but the rushing attack is still in the top half of the NFL. Can the Cowboys offense be unstoppable? Heck yeah. It's already there. And then if you insert a more healthy CeeDee Lamb, that's even more unstoppable. We're already in that category of unstoppability for the Dallas Cowboys.
Maybe the Cowboys just stopped themselves. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Jerry Jones had plenty to say about the loss to Carolina. Not after the game, but on his radio appearance when he was on 105.3 The Fan. Apparently he said Carolina was easy to overlook as a formidable matchup with us. Huh. Easy to overlook. So Jerry just admitted that his team was asleep at the wheel for a trap game against Carolina when his team has the entire season ahead of him. When the Cowboys aren't really in a situation to trap anyone. When Rico Dowdle is out here saying, hey, buckle up, you're telling me that the Cowboys looked at the buckle up quotes, and most of the time we're like, oh, that locker room's going to be fired up. They looked at the buckle up quotes, laughed, and decided not to really come to work on Sunday? Man, Jerry, if you actually believe that your team just overslept this matchup, basically, you got even bigger problems in your defense. You got cultural problems that are all the way top down that you're not going to be able to fix at all.
Yeah, there are just some things that you don't say out loud. That's one of those things. Overlooking an opponent. This is the NFL. Okay, the NFL. Anyone can lose on any given Sunday, especially to a team that put up 7.5 yards a crack on the ground the week before. And you, Jerry, were the one talking about how we need to stop the run whenever you traded Micah Parsons. You know your defense can't stop the run. And we had a Rico Dowdle that put up 206 yards against the Miami Dolphins. What do you mean they weren't a formidable opponent? Like, that is so embarrassing to even think, to even have that mindset, much less say it out loud on the radio. Embarrassing.
I'm going to need that, Jerry Jones, one more time from you.
We need to stop the run. He definitely doesn't sound that old. Like, he's not that downtrodden, but
I don't know. That was pretty spectacular work by you.
We need to stop the run.
All right, that's going to be stuck in my head.